Hello everyone, my name is Cap and welcome back to the channel, another 7 days to die video. Now I'm doing all this in Alpha 17 stable build 240 on the PC. Now we've already tested candles and we've already tested torches and how well they work with the heat map and whether or not they can raise the heat map, if they can spawn zombies and such. So now we're moving on to electrical lights and components. So right down here we have a general battery bank and I'm over in Dyersville and I am going to be using all the different houses to do different kinds of tests. And turn off the zombies so we can get just the heat from the lights themselves. And I'm also limiting it just to the lights that you can craft, the simple light and the spotlight. That way people playing the game, normal survival, will encounter these. There's a couple things you can get in creative menu they could use, but I'm not going to test those because these are the ones that are going to be the normal ones you'll find in the game. So down here in the very first house, we have just a regular battery bank, have a battery in there, turn it on, and you can see, and I'll blow it up on the screen so you can see it, just by placing it, putting a battery in it, turn it on, it does not raise the heat map, it's still at 0%. So, we head down the road here a little bit, go down to this third house right here, and inside we have a generator bank here, and we have it hooked up, got an engine in it, got a full gas here, and you can see just by turning it on, and even having one light hooked up to it, which, you know what, just for... Let me disconnect that. Okay, just by having the generator running and everything placed in here, it still raised the heat map by 0%. Now, these are the baselines. So I'm setting just the generator here and the battery bank down there as a baseline, so we can see if just themselves, with nothing hooked up to them, if they'll raise the heat map at all. Now, we'll go up over across the street here. Alright, so then we'll go across the street over here. And we have it set up with a battery bank hooked up to 8 different lights. You can only connect 8 sources to one power source here. So I have 8 of these simple lights here. We'll get this turned on here. And holy mama, that is bright. Turn off my flashlight because that is just blinding here. But let me turn around so it's not so bright on the screen here. You can see with all 8 lights lit up and the battery bank going, good God, that is so incredibly bright, that it raised the heat by 0% again. So what we'll do now is we'll head down the street a little bit, go to our next little house. And in here, we have the same kind of setup. We have 8 spotlights hooked up to a battery bank. So we turn this one on. And this one's not as bright because they're pointing off in different directions. But you can see right now, just by turning them on, all 8 spotlights at the same time, it's still 0% on the heat map. So then what we're going to do is we're going to go over to this last little house here, where we have set up with a battery bank. Get the engine in there, turn it on, and we've got 8 spotlights hooked up to this one with a generator running at the same time. Okay, and you can see everything is still sitting at 0%. Just the basics of putting them down, turning them on, getting them all connected did nothing to the heat map. So what I'm going to do now is it's about 10 o'clock in the morning on day 2 is I'm just going to sit here. I'm going to just hang out in Dyersville over probably at the very first house because I turned it on first. We're just going to sit here and see if the heat map goes up. We're going to give it until dark and I will check back in like I did with the last one. And we will see if there is any kind of change whatsoever in the heat. And this will let us know if running electrical lights in your house will raise the heat map. Now, of course, when the heat map hits 100, it spawns in a screamer and resets back down to 0. But until then, generally, the heat map doesn't spawn any screamers until it hits 0, until it hits 100. So if it raises it even just a little bit, that'll be a little bit concerned because the longer you run it, the more it'll run. So we're going to just let it sit here. We'll check back in here in a couple hours in game and see if it has gone up, and we'll check all the locations. So, be back in a few minutes. Alright, so we waited almost a full day because as I was getting closer and closer to night and seeing that it wasn't doing anything, I thought, you know what, just in case. Now, according to the game files and all the information you can find online about it, electrical lights don't have a heat tick count and they don't even have a heat rate, but as with so many other things, I wanted to test it anyway to see if just because it says so in the game files doesn't necessarily mean that's how it works in the game. So I let them all run for almost a full 24 hours in game just to be sure. I didn't change anything, didn't do anything. You can see in the very first house where I have the battery bank set up as the baseline, the heat is still at 0%. So a full day of running just the battery did nothing for the heat map. Now let's fly down the road. Go check out the other house over here and see if the gas power generator raised the heat at all. I can't imagine it did, but we're going to test it anyway. So this ran all night and still got a full tank of gas, which is good because, you know, generators don't use any gas whatsoever when they're not connected to anything. So again, ran all night, just the generator itself. I'm going to turn it off because it's loud, and raised the heat by 0%. So let's go check out the very first house that actually has anything hooked up to it and see if there is anything going on inside to indicate that the heat is raised up by the lights here. Okay, so got the battery bank hooked up to 8 of the simple lights here, and you can see that I'm going to turn this off real quick. It's sitting at 0%. I'm going to turn it off just because it's super bright, but you can see it's at 0%. So with the maximum amount of lights you can hook up to a generator, or sorry, to a battery bank, and with one connection here running for a full 24 hours, raise the heat by 0%. All right, let's go check out the next house with the spotlights in it. This one might be a little different, you never know. No, one battery bank running with 8 spotlights all night, raise the heat by 0% as well. Alright, now we'll go across the street here and check this one. Another one with the generator running all night. I'll turn it off so it's not so loud. 8 spotlights running in the same area, raise the heat by 0%. So, I pretty much think that concludes that electrical lights do not generate heat whatsoever. And so, of course, you're not going to get zombies to spawn in from that because the heat map isn't going up at all. So, we're going to leave that as concluded there. Now, in case people's asking about traps, the generators are still going to work the same if they're powering traps or other powered devices. They're not going to raise the heat with the generators themselves. Now, the traps we haven't tested out. In Alpha 16, they didn't raise the heat map, and even the sound of firing off the turrets and stuff didn't raise the heat map at all. So, if everybody wants me to, I can retest all the electrical traps and turrets and stuff to see if they do anything with the heat or attract zombies. But, at least for this video, we can conclude that electrical lights do not raise the heat map, even a slight little bit, nor do they attract zombies. So light up your house with as many of them as you can, and you are good to go. Now, do keep in mind that people have said in the past that if they put a ton of electrical lights in their house using the generators, that sometimes they would see some frame drops. I didn't myself, but I'm using with just one in each house, and I had 8 lights in there, and I was still getting a good 60 frames per second. So just keep that in mind if you decide to deck it out. Also, solar panels don't raise the heat at all. I didn't test them out here at all because I knew they didn't raise the heat at all, and they're not really doing anything. They don't make any sound. They don't generate any kind of heat. They only generate power from the sun, so they don't raise the heat map at all. So I didn't even include them in the test. So there we have that. So if you enjoyed the video, do me a favor and hit that thumbs up button down below. If you have any questions or things that maybe I forgot to test, or if you notice something differently, drop it in the comments section so everybody can see it as well, and I'll help you out if I can. And if you're new here, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on future videos. Thank you guys so much for all your time and support. You guys are awesome. Have a wonderful day, and I'll talk to you later.